that everyone's gonna die again, which I'm not opposed with.
They're messed up in the head, but they're meant for each other.
So fucking hot, but it just didn't have the sun.
It's just so disappointing. 400 pages is for 5 pages. So today we're gonna have a chiller reading vlog with a little hint of filling sketchbook pages, and we're gonna have some New York City exploring because I have to go to school there anyway. The first book that I will be reading is called Into the Drowning Deep. So 7 years ago, an expedition was made to make a mockumentary about the urban legend, the myth, the glory of mermaids, and no one really thought that they were gonna find mermaids because they've done like Bigfoot, the Sasquatch, and it's been, mockumentaries, so it's not real. Well, apparently it is real, and that entire expedition crew just disappeared. No traces of their bodies, and the only thing left from them was footage of a massacre by mermaids, which the US Navy leaked. But the company that paid for the expedition did not want that footage leaked, so they were saying that it's a hoax, and everyone believed it. No one believed that it was real. Well, 7 years later, the company sets up another expedition to actually look for mermaids and the disappearance of that first ship. So now they have like actual researchers, they have like contract kind of hunters, and they just have a cast of amazing minds, and they are fully prepared. So we are following. So yeah, we try to uncover the truth about what happens. Yeah, we follow the exploration, maybe the death, I don't know. But here's the thing, if you read the prequel, you know what happens. But here in the story, no one knows, except, us that read the prequel. Very interesting. Oh, I'm also listening to The Paris Apartment. So The Paris Apartment is a story about Ben, who lives in this apartment with really weird neighbors, and when his sister comes to visit him, he disappears. And she's trying to solve, where did he go? There's no traces of him, and the only thing that she can get like info from is the weird neighbors. And we uncover the truth about the weird neighbors, what happened, and it's just very interesting. But by 60%, there's a lot of sexual aspects that's going on. Like basically one person screwing an entire family. I have no idea what's going on, but it's very interesting. Hello, it's still the same day. I just changed shirts. I did yoga. I showered. I did everything I possibly could to make myself feel better, but I still don't. And I figured out why. I just got my moon cycle. That's why I've been feeling real low. So I thought, a wonderful idea. Let me just play a cozy little plant hunting witchy kind of culty game with some elderberry tea, and let me just relax. Because looking at words without reading glasses hurt, and my glasses haven't shipped yet. I got to page 226 of Into the Drowning Deep, so it's around 42%. And my goodness, is this an amazing read? Like, I don't know how many times I have to say that. Right now, we're getting juicy. We got our first casualty. Oh, I wonder who it is, right? It's like, oh, thank you for crafting these lovable characters, just like you did with the novella, but they all died in the novella, so I hope they don't all die here. And I don't know if it's just me, but I love books where you don't know if your characters are gonna die or not. Like, you absolutely love them, but you don't know if the author's just gonna, put them in the trash. But their deaths are like,
an important part of the story. So I don't know. And in this book, it's so annoying how corrupt the company that is funding this expedition, because they just care about the entertainment factor and getting the footage rather than the safety of those on board. Like, on board, there's important scientists and researchers, but no, safety is not a concern. Every single day of this expedition, at the end of the chapters, it's like, oh, they're doing this shutter drill, which locks every room and makes sure that nothing can get in the room if an emergency arises, such as the mermaids attacking like they did with the first expedition. So the company, they told people, don't worry, it's safe, we have safety protocols. So like the ship crew, they're doing drills for the shutter. It does not work. Every single time it fails. And when the first casualty comes, literally it's like, oh, we're gonna die. What? I'm so intrigued. I don't know where this story is going, if I'm being honest. And I'm a little scared because this is, the second expedition. You would think it would have a happy ending. Maybe at least one survive. But I'm getting the vibe that everyone's gonna die again, which I'm not opposed with. But girl, is she okay? Author, are you okay? It's so good, man.
So there's like contract killers that are hired for this expedition, and this couple is very known for killing like big animals like rhinoceros, orcas, sharks, endangered species. They're very infamous, but they're not well liked. When you get their POV, they're like so lovey-dovey, but in like a dark romance kind of vibe. And there was this part, they're gonna be banging, and here most of the bed was covered in weaponry. They still found room. Like, that is so dark romance. This couple is giving Butcher and Blackbird kind of vibes, which is so cute. They're messed up in the head, but they're meant for each other.
Like skin your face. And then
So fucking hot, but it just didn't have the sun.
4 times a day. I started sweating.
no, I'm scared. Then, cause I don't have any I got an onigirazu, which is an onigiri sandwich, rice ball sandwich. I'm so happy, and I'm gonna eat this while reading, but I just wanna eat it for now. Oh my goodness, there's so many birds. I'm not even joking. My goodness, there's so many. What? it's been a few days, but I finally finished The Paris Apartment, and it was honestly an amazing read. And before I get to my final thoughts of the book, I have some thoughts in the middle of the book that I wrote down because it was just scenes that I just didn't want to ever forget in my life, if I'm being honest. Oh, and these are gonna be spoiler free. I won't talk about who the characters are, but it's something that happens. You know the hair that falls when you shave, like that shaved piece of hair? You have anything to say? Fallen shaven pieces of hair on the sink. Well, one of our characters just picks that up with her finger and eats it. I was like, this is too early in the morning to hear about this. I'm writing that down though. That one was crazy, girl. Oh, another thing I wanted to talk about was an excerpt from the Book Club Girl podcast, which interviewed Lucy Foley, the author of The Paris Apartment. And in their beginning sequence of the podcast, they explained the book as everyone's a neighbor, everyone's a suspect, and everyone knows something they're not telling. And I just found that to be such an amazing hook, but also explanation to the start of the book. If someone told me that, I would want to read it as soon as possible. Yeah, those are some thoughts I did not want to forget. It's just the hair one really got me. I love The Paris Apartment, honestly. If you want to see my full review about it, go on Goodreads. But it was a really, really good thriller mystery. The trope is normally oh, girl goes missing, you try to find her. Well, this is the opposite. Guy goes missing and you try to find them, but it's this guy called Ben who's very charismatic, who's very witty, and he's a big guy. So, let's say when you talk to the police, the way they treat his missing status would be different compared to if it was a beautiful girl, right? So, it talks about the bias in the system when it comes to that. It's also interesting that Paris was the setting because, Paris, we know it to be this romantic place. Yes, it might be kind of filled with trash now and poopy water, but it's this romantic place that you should go on your honeymoon or, you get proposed to. It's the city of lights, the Eiffel Tower is there. But the way Lucy Foley constructs the Paris in this book is a more eerie kind of Paris. It's the back alleys that no one wants to look at, and it's just creepy. Any sound that you'll hear will literally make your bones shiver. This one's multiple POV. It has short chapters rather than the chapters having cliffhangers. Oh, he did this, she did it. It's more you uncover more about the other characters' backstory and the reason why and the thought processes of what led them to certain decisions and what kind of life and what kind of traumas they went through. And honestly, with antagonists, the characters that you're supposed to dislike, everyone's so morally gray that you don't know who to hate because everyone has yes, their shitty sides, but also you can't help but feel bad for them because of what they've been through. So that's really fun. And regarding Into the Drowning Deep, I love her so much. It's so, I'm around 60% in. I'm not going to tell you which chapter it is, right? We have one POV where we're following the narration of dolphins. Yeah, we're following dolphins. We're following their thought processes. We're following their family dynamics. It's just so wholesome. Love the dolphins. You also get to uncover their emotions and even their backstory, dude. And their low-key family history of, okay, that one's wild caught. This one has been captive since birth. I love that chapter. Another thing that I wanted to add was I saw a comment earlier that was oh my gosh, you should make a video that's only talking about horror because Halloween's coming up. It's September. And in my head, I'm I'm gonna do that. I love horror. Well, an additional reason why I also love Into the Drowning Deep is because as a horror girly, this one really tickles the fancy. I don't know what that means, but it really tickles the fancy. But also, I'm in STEM. I like science, even though it hurts me physically. So just combining the elements of horror and scientific research is a match made in heaven for me. It's scary. It's scary. It kind of makes you queasy. It makes you a little anxious.
but it's also filled with scientific jargon because you just have so many scientists in this one vessel doing their own research. And in other chapters, you go more into a scientist POV and what they're researching and all the technologies and aspects of their research. They talk to you about it in detail. But one that's really interesting for me was ichthyology, the branch of zoology that deals with fishes. And there's other scientists that have these more specific fields that you've never heard of. And it's really interesting to learn about them. And I'm so glad I'm reading this book on my Kindle instead of a paperback, because the Kindle just lets you seamlessly allows you to search up the word without getting out of, the reading zone. And honestly, our main caveat as humans is just our amazing amount of curiosity, which just makes us do dumb shit. And that's what's happening in this book. But I can't blame them because it's like a scientific discovery. And you want to let the public know, what's out there, but also you want to get recognized and make a name for yourself. So you do even dumber shit. So love this book. Read it if you can, please. I'll update you when I finish. And I hope you're liking the B-roll shots because I'm loving it too. I feel like those are a little bit nicer to watch than all my yapping. Like, you can only handle a certain amount of minutes of yapping before even I get a little annoyed. Like, give us the scenery, What do you mean? What do you mean? Okay, I finally finished Into the Drowning Deep and honestly love her. She is amazing. She is divine, but everything was like so good. The start, it was so fast paced. It was action packed. The middle part, it was suspenseful. Going to the end, you don't know who's gonna die or not. Is it gonna be your favorite characters or not? And the author is quite liberal with her character deaths. So it makes it kind of like really suspenseful and honestly fearsome as the audience because we love these characters, but she was so close to being a 5-star, like literally this close. She's a 4.5 because the ending was just way too rushed. The ending chapter could have been written for 5 chapters, like at least 50 pages. But no, she gave it 5 pages. And there's a lot of holes that are left unfilled. There's still a lot of the mystery, which I understand, but it was not like satisfying at all. For all the turmoil and like buildup we've had, it was like really lackluster. And I looked into maybe there's a 3rd book that's going to be in the series, a sequel to Into the Drowning Deep. Well, the author does want to explore that realm and she wants to explore like the universe in the next book, but she has no book contracts for it. Therefore, she's not making it because she has to make money. And it's honestly really sad. Literally, there was like a Reddit post that was basically the author asked me anything, which was made 6 years ago. And one of the questions was like asking, hey, is there going to be a sequel? But she's like, no one has picked it up. So yeah, she would love to, but publisher needs to support her and no one wants to pick up the book, which is honestly so sad. There should be a petition to make a new book because the ending, like right now it's lackluster and honestly like but if there was a next book coming, then it would have been a very good cliffhanger. But because there's not, it's just not completed, Like, there could be so much more in the story. It's just so disappointing. 400 pages for this, for 5 pages. I really hope she gets to do this story more and, like, in a broader sense and finish it. I really hope someone gives her the chance. Someone that works with books, please do that for her. Please, for us too. So yeah, this was a chill reading vlog. We read Into the Drowning Deep, and we also read The Paris Apartment. We also read a little bit of Goodnight, Punpun, Omniscient, part 4. Recording is like a week and a half, but I feel like I barely read, and honestly,
I took a lot of mental health days this week. Honestly, the change of schedule really bothered me. It bothers my brain. You know, college started, I have to work out the schedule and all the other stuff. So yeah, I just watched a lot of shows. I hope you really enjoyed this. Thank you for coming along the journey with me. I hope you've had a nice day, and I'll see you in another video soon. Bye bye.